I've mentioned this a few times over the last couple months, and it seems to always raise some eyebrows and spawn question marks, so I figured I'll just make a whole video here talking about it. It's true, I bought a farm, and I don't mean that as a euphemism for I died. I'm still very much alive. In fact, I've evolved into a good old-fashioned red-blooded patriot living off the Lord's titty out here. So, I've now got a lot of acres under my belt. I've even got some classic overalls and everything. And trust me, when I slap that get up on, it's a whole new ball game. I look like a $10 stripper you found outside of Walmart. There is something about my physiognomy that is just not conducive to farmer attire, but I'm gonna brute force it till it looks good on me. Point is, I do have a farm now, and I no longer have the warehouse. Which is very sad to say because the warehouse was a huge part of my life for the last almost 5 years now. It served its purpose well. It was an amazing headquarters full of fun and whimsy. Fucking 5 years ago almost, we got that bad boy, and man, did we turn that into a special place. That was heaven on earth. All started with this video here riding around our motorized gaming chairs. We even debuted the Moby Huge Mobile there, the apotheosis of engineering. We even had our own fucking wrestling league, a wrestling ring in there, putting on our own productions. It was amazing. I don't know how many total videos were filmed at the warehouse, but it has to be like 500 if I had to spitball a guess. And they're all bangers, turbo bangers even. And we did, of course, give the warehouse a swan song. We did a little something special as a group on the other channel for a little murder mystery. Feel free to check that out. I think it was a lot of fun, and it was a nice little bon voyage to the warehouse. You might be wondering, well, Charles, if you love it so much, why didn't you marry it? Why don't you have the warehouse any longer? And it's because there's a lot of things that I want to do now that I just couldn't at the warehouse anymore. Namely, building things on it. There are certain things you cannot do when it comes to a warehouse space without getting into the nitty-gritty. No need to dive into the weeds. And there's just a lot that I want to be able to have the freedom to do. So the question naturally becomes, what's the goal of the farm? And I have a lot of ideas for the land, some of which we're already actively working on, and I'll be able to show you pretty soon. That won't be today, but soon. And some of those ideas do, of course, include, like, actual farming activities. Growing crops, shit like that. Have a nice array of, like, orange trees and all kinds of things there. And that does include having animals on the land as well. Not, like, for the sake of food production or anything like that. I'm not trying to create, like, some kind of self-sufficient, sovereign nation. Not like some kind of cult facility or anything. I'm not trying to make, like, fucking Rapture out of BioShock. I'm talking about housing some good old-fashioned barnyard animals. You know, like maybe sheep. We could shear the sheep and spin our own jackets out of the wool. Sheep like to be sheared from what I understand. Of course, I'm not a fucking sheep whisperer, but that's what I always hear. Stuff like that. Maybe even a horse or two, and I could learn how to horseback ride. Probably really hurt myself. Hopefully it doesn't end up kicking me in the chest and killing me instantly. But, like, stuff like that, it could be fun. But it's not just like general farming activities. That's not the entire goal of the land. I really want the property to serve as like the one-stop shop for all of the content that we do, where typically we have to spread out across Florida to access some of it, like gun ranges. There are gun ranges in Tampa, sure, but they are very strict on what you're allowed to shoot there. So the gun ranges that you've seen in the videos I've posted with like the wild weapons that we've used, we've had to drive like 45 minutes to an hour out of Tampa to very specific locations in order to do that. I would love to not have to do that and instead have a gun range on my property where we can use whatever weapons we want in our own privacy. And that is something that we are actively working on the land right now. Another thing that I've always wanted to be able to have access to without having to drive like hours away is a forge. Like, we all did some blacksmithing. We posted a video on that a while ago, and we all really liked it. Danny in particular. So, I'd love to just build a fucking forge on the farmland that we could all just go and forge some weapons in sometimes. Maybe even have our own Forged in Fire kind of show. Just wacky, fun shit that is only possible to build on this amount of land. And of course, like I said, I do want farming, like actual like farming and agricultural stuff to be like an integral part of it, but it's not the sole goal. And one thing that we've already got, which I'll be able to show you pretty soon that we've already finished, is I've been gaming a lot, as all of you know. Moist Critical Gaming Official, best fucking gaming channel on YouTube, go subscribe. I've been gaming a lot, and one of the things that I did day one on the land is build out the barn into gaming pods for me and my friends to do a lot of gaming content in. So I plan on going full chub into gaming even harder. And it's not just that, it is more than just gaming in the barn. It is also built out for our esports watch parties, which will be a lot of fun there. It is also built out for Skill Check, our nerdy paradise where it's mainly card games and D&D. So Magic the Gathering, One Piece, all of that is also there on a different floor. It's just extremely nice to be able to build out these kind of things on this kind of land. And like I said, we are going to be getting animals. In fact, we have a few on the way. I'll introduce you to them when they get there. And that's probably when I'll do like a tour of the farm, which I haven't really done yet. I filmed a few videos on the farm already, like with the Nile Red collab, that was on the farm. The car bubbles, that was also on a piece of the land. Like, we've been actively filming there, and I aim to do significantly more there. Even more there than we ever did at the warehouse. Because, hopefully, we'll be able to do pretty much anything imaginable on the land. Yeah, that's kind of the gist of it. That's kind of the nutshell summary of everything here. I'm gonna miss the warehouse, but I'm very excited for the farm arc here. So yeah, that's really about it. See ya.